So today we're going to talk about how to graph an equation. Yesterday, what we did is we took an equation, or we saw a graph, and then we put it on. We turned it into an equation. But today we did the opposite. We have an equation and we're going to graph it. So let's start with this one. It gives you the information. Each doll needs 2 shoes. The rule is, or the equation is, S equals 2D, where D is the number of dolls and S is the number of shoes. Now, the first thing you need to do is to label the axes. So, 2D, so S is going to be my output and D is going to be my input. So D stands for dolls. So I'm going to put my input on the x-axis and my output, and this is on the y-axis. Now this is shoes. When we have, we know the number of dolls, we want to know how many shoes we need. So notice I put a letter here in parentheses after the axes. This matches up with the letters in the equation. Now let me rewrite this equation. This is S equals 2D. Now when you have a letter and a number together, that means you're multiplying them. So this can be also written as 2 times D. So 2D is 2 times D. So what I'm going to do is come up with a set of ordered pairs from this equation and then graph them, and then I'll have my graph. Now, the first thing I do is to pick one of the numbers on the x-axis. Basically, I'm selecting an input, and then I figure out what the output is, and once I have my input and output, that's an ordered pair, and I graph it. So the first one I'm going to pick is 1. I'm going to pick an input of 1. So if I have 1 doll, how many shoes do I have? So I replace D with 1, and then I just copy everything else down. So once again, my input is 1. Now this is going to tell me what my output is. 2 times 1 is 2. When I have 1 doll, I have 2 shoes. So then I graph that. That's my first point. So now I'm going to pick another one. I'm going to pick 3 this time. So my input is 3. So that is my input. That's the first number in my ordered pair. So now I just replace D with 3, and then I just copy down everything else, and that'll give me my output. When I have 3 dolls, I have 3 times 2 shoes, which is 6. So my next point that I'm going to put on here is 6. I could have picked 2 as well, but you can pick anything you want. On the homework, I'm going to need at least three ordered pairs on your graph. So there's that one. Now I'm going to pick, let's see, let me try 6. I'm going to try 6. So my ordered pair, the first number in the ordered pair would be 6. Then my output, I just copy S equals 2 times, and is going to be 2 times 6, which is 12. So over 6 and up 12, but this only goes up to 10, so I can't graph this point. My graph isn't big enough, so I have to pick something smaller. So let me pick 5 instead. So D is equal to 5. So that's my input. And let me figure out what my output is. That's going to be 5 times 2, which is 10. So 510 is my output. Now, I'm going to fill in the others just for more practice. I'm going to figure out what the output is for 4. So my input is 4. My output is going to be 4 times 2, which is 8. So 4, 8. You may notice that these points are making a line, and these are linear. They're called linear equations because they make a line. And whether multiplying or adding, the types of equations that we're working on right at this level are going to be linear, and they're all going to make a line. So I'm going to use the input of 2. So my input is 2, my output is 2 times 2, which is 4. So 2, 4, and there's actually one more that a lot of people forget. That is the input of 0. So my input is 0, my output's going to be 0 times 2, and that's 0, 0. Those are all the points that'll fit on the graph. Once again, on the homework, you only need to put 3 of these. You could put more if you want, but these are all of the possible ones that you can put on there. So now I'm going to do this one, which has an additive equation. The score for guessing the correct word is 4, and the number of letters in the word. So 4 plus the number of letters in the word. So if I guessed a correct word, which is cat, my score would be 3 plus 4, because there's 3 letters in cat plus 4 to get the score. So the rule is S equals 4 plus L, where L is the number of letters and S is the score. Well, my input is the thing that I'm adding 4 to, so that's going to be on my x-axis. My input's going to be on my x-axis. So that's going to be letters, L, or I'll make that cursive L, and then score, S, is going to be on my output. Now my equation is S equals 4 plus L. So let's find some inputs to plug into that and start graphing points. I'm going to start with 2. So my input is 2. So I just replace L with 2 and then just copy everything else, and that will give me my output. S equals 4 plus 2, which is 6. So my first point is 2, 6. Okay. Now let me try 4. About a 4-letter a word with 4 letters. So my ordered pair is going to start with 4. That's my input, and then my output's going to be 8. So 4, 8. Okay, so let me try another one. Let's try 7. So my input is 7, my output's going to be 11. Unfortunately, this only goes up to 10. So anything that's 7 and bigger is going to be too big of an input. So I'm just reminding myself by crossing those out for now. I could plot that point if my graph was bigger, if I made my graph bigger, but this is what I have to work with, so I'm just going to use these values. So let's try 6 instead. S equals 4 plus 6. So my input is 6, my output is 4 plus 6, that's 10. So 6, 10 is up here. And I'll just go ahead and plot the rest of them. Once again, you only need to plot 3 for your homework, but I'm going to do all of them just for practice. So let's try 0. Input of 0. So my input is 0, my output is 4 plus 0, which is 4. So 0, 4. And now let's do 1. I'm just going to fill in all the blanks. S equals 4 plus 1. So my input is 1, my output is 4 plus 1, which is 5. So 1, 5. When my input is 3, I replace L with 3. And my input is 3, my output is 4 plus 3, which is 7. So 3, 7. And if my input is 5, I replace L with 5. I have S equals 4 plus 5. My input is 5, my output is 9. So 5, 9. There you go, that's all of them that'll fit on the graph. And that is how you graph an equation. And notice that this is also a line, a straight line.